in the heart of America, where amber waves of grain sway under skies that promise freedom, a shadow creeps across the land. It's not a storm born of nature, but one forged in boardrooms and backrooms, where the air hums with the quiet clink of coins and the rustle of power changing hands. The year is 2025, and the pulse of democracy, once a proud, steady beat, falters under the weight of unseen strings. Billionaires, their names whispered like myths, hold court not in public squares, but in gilded towers, their influence seeping into the veins of the nation's politics. They are the architects of a silent siege, and their target is the soul of the republic. The Democratic Party, long a beacon for the working man, the dreamer, the underdog, stands at a crossroads. Its leaders, men and women who once marched for justice, now pause, their ears tuned to the siren song of wealth. Special interest groups, cloaked in promises of progress, weave their webs around candidates who dare to dream of office. Don't fight the powerful, the whispers urge. Bend, and you'll rise. And too many listen. In campaign offices littered with coffee cups and crumpled ideals, candidates trade fire for caution, their voices softening as they learn the cost of defiance. The party's heart, once ablaze with conviction, grows heavy with compromise, its members caught in a dance they cannot lead. Across the nation, from the Rust Belt towns of Ohio to the sun-soaked streets of California, the people feel it. A tremor in the ground they've walked for generations. They see it in the shuttered factories, the skyrocketing rents, the promises broken before the ink dries. Democracy, they were taught, is one person, one vote, a sacred pact forged in the crucible of revolution. But now that pact frays. In Washington's marbled halls, the will of the few drowns out the chorus of the many. Billionaires don't just fund campaigns, they sculpt them, carving out futures that serve their own. The American dream, that defiant spark, flickers in the shadow of their ambition. Yet even in this twilight, there are those who see the truth. In diners and union halls, in classrooms and barbershops, voices rise, quiet at first, then bolder. They speak of a system buckling, of a nation that must reclaim its birthright. The powerful may hold the reins, but the people hold the fire. And fire, once kindled, does not easily fade. This is no mere political skirmish. It's a reckoning, a battle for the very meaning of America. The stage is set, the players assembled, and the question hangs heavy in the air. Will the nation bend, or will it rise? The whispers of defiance that stirred in America's heartlands begin to swell, carried on the wind from coast to coast. In the shadow of those gilded towers, where billionaires cast their long reach over the nation's future, a different kind of gathering takes shape. It's not in marble corridors or velvet-draped offices, but in the weathered pews of community centers, the cracked pavement of town squares, and the flickering glow of late-night kitchen tables. Here, ordinary Americans, factory workers with calloused hands, teachers with dog-eared lesson plans, nurses who've seen too much, stand shoulder to shoulder, their eyes alight with a shared resolve. The air crackles with the weight of a truth too long ignored. Democracy is slipping through their fingers, and only they can claw it back. In a small Vermont town, where maple trees blaze red against the autumn chill, a retired machinist named Clara stands before a crowd of neighbors. Her voice, rough from years of shouting over factory noise, carries a fire that belies her gray hair. "They're buying our votes," she declares, her finger jabbing toward an invisible enemy. Citizens United, that cursed decision, opened the floodgates, letting billionaires drown our voices in their cash. But we're not pawns, and this ain't their game. The crowd murmurs, then roars, their anger a living thing, fed by years of betrayal. Clara's words are no mere rant. They're a clarion call, echoing a plan as bold as it is simple. Overturn the Supreme Court's ruling, that unshackled wealth's grip on politics and replace it with a system where every voice counts the same. Public funding of elections, she says, is the shield they need. One person, one vote, no exceptions. Across the country, the idea takes root like wildfire in dry grass. In Oakland, a young organizer named Javier tapes flyers to lampposts, each one scrawled with the same demand: End Citizens United, fund our elections. In Atlanta, a pastor weaves the cause into his sermon, his congregation nodding as he speaks of justice over greed. The vision is clear: strip away the billionaire's playbook, tear down the auction house where democracy's been sold. It's a dream as old as the nation itself. Born in the taverns of 1776, when rebels dared to defy a king. But the stakes feel higher now. The enemy less a distant crown than a shadow within. Every rally, every petition, every shouted slogan builds the momentum, a tide rising against the weight of gold. Yet, even as hope surges, doubt lingers like a stubborn fog. In quiet moments, Clara wonders if the system's roots run too deep, if the powerful will bend before they break. Javier feels the ache of long nights, the fear that their cries might fade unheard. The nation watches, breathless, as the battle lines form, not between parties, but between the people and the purse. This is no mere policy debate. It's a fight for the soul of America, a test of whether the dream of equality can outshine the gleam of wealth. The crowds grow louder, their footsteps heavier, and the question burns brighter with every passing day. Will they forge a new path, or will the shadow prevail? As the rallies swell and the chants for reform echo from Vermont's frost-kissed hills to Oakland's sun-baked streets, a darker truth claws its way to the surface, demanding to be seen. The enemy isn't just a system, it's a mindset, a hunger that festers in the hearts of those who've already claimed more than most could dream. High above the clamor, in penthouses where the city lights blur into a private constellation, the oligarchs sit enthroned. They are not faceless. They are men and women of flesh and ambition, their names etched on skyscrapers and whispered in fear. But what drives them isn't mere wealth. It's a creed, a fervent devotion to an altar no ordinary American would recognize. Clara, Javier, and the millions rallying behind them feel it like a chill down the spine. The religion of greed. Picture a man in a tailored suit, his view of Manhattan sprawling below like a conquered kingdom. He's one of them, an oligarch whose fortune could rebuild entire towns. Yet his eyes are restless, scanning for the next conquest. His faith isn't in compassion, in the golden rule preached in small-town churches, from Bangor to Bakersfield. It's not in justice, the kind that lifts the weary and rights the scales. No. His scripture is written in ledgers, his hymns sung in stock tickers, his salvation measured in zeros that stretch beyond reason. Greed, he believes, is not a sin, but a sacrament. And he's not alone. Across the nation, his kind gather, in private jets slicing through the clouds, in yacht-bound meetings where the sea itself seems to bow. They worship at the same altar, their prayers answered not by grace, but by power. This isn't the greed of a child snatching an extra cookie. It's a force that reshapes the world. It's the factory closed to boost a stock price, leaving families adrift in Ohio's rusting heart. It's the hospital bill that bankrupts a teacher in Tulsa, her savings no match for a system rigged to profit. It's the politician's handshake in a smoky room, trading principles for a campaign war chest. The oligarch's faith demands more, always more, because enough is a word they've never learned. Their gospel scorns the meek, laughs at the idea of doing unto others. It's a creed that builds empires on the backs of the forgotten, and its disciples are devout. Down below, Clara feels the weight of this truth as she addresses another crowd, her voice trembling not with fear, but with fury. They don't just want our money, she cries, her words cutting through the autumn air. They want our hope, our future, our America. Javier, pasting flyers under a flickering streetlight, sees it too. The way wealth's shadow stretches over every fight for fairness. The nation's pulse quickens, its people awakening to the stakes. This isn't just a battle for votes or laws. It's a war against a belief system that threatens to choke the very spirit of the land. The oligarch's religion may be strong, but the fire in the streets burns hotter, and the clash is coming. Unavoidable, unstoppable, as American as the fight for freedom itself. The fire in the streets burns brighter, fueled by Clara's fierce words and Javier's tireless hands. But the shadow of the oligarch's creed looms larger still, casting a pall over the nation's soul. As winter creeps closer, America stands at a mirror, forced to confront not just its enemies, but itself. From the foggy harbors of Maine to the sprawling deserts of Nevada, the land is scarred, not only by greed's cold machinery, but by a deeper malaise, a sickness that gnaws at the heart of its people. In dive bars and emergency rooms, in trailer parks and city slums, the symptoms are everywhere. Needles discarded in alleys, bottles drained to dull the pain, lives unraveled by addiction's merciless grip. But Clara, standing before a shivering crowd in Burlington, names a poison more lethal than any drug. Greed, she thunders, her breath clouding in the frosty air. Is the addiction tearing us apart? Walk through any American town, and you'll see the wreckage. In Youngstown, Ohio, a steelworker named Marcus nurses a whiskey, his factory job gone, his pride buried under bills he can't pay. In Fresno, California, a single mother named Lena cradles her son, his asthma attacks worse since the nearby plant's profits trumped clean air. Across Vermont's rolling hills, a veteran huddles in a shelter, his disability check swallowed by a system that sees him as a number, not a man. Addiction to heroin, to booze, to despair, clings to these lives like damp rot. Yet Clara's voice cuts through the haze, drawing a line from these personal tragedies to a greater affliction. The oligarchs, she says, are hooked on something worse. Their billions aren't enough. Their empires never sate. Like junkies chasing a fading high, they crave more power, more wealth, more control, even if it means crushing the poor, the disabled, the working class underfoot. This isn't abstract rhetoric. It's a truth etched in the nation's bones. In Chicago, a corporate merger leaves thousands jobless, the profits funneled to a CEO's offshore account. In Appalachia, coal barons strip the land bare, their fortunes built on the black lung of miners. The oligarchs' addiction doesn't just harm, they thrive on the harm, their hunger a wildfire that consumes the vulnerable first. Lena's son wheezes, Marcus's glass trembles, and the veteran's eyes grow hollow, all casualties of a system where greed writes the rules. Clara's words ripple outward, from Vermont's town halls to California's coastal cities, painting a picture of a country on its knees, not from weakness, but from betrayal. We're all hurting, she tells the crowd, her voice breaking with a mother's anguish. But their addiction hurts us most. Javier, now joined by others pasting flyers in the pre-dawn chill, feels the weight of Clara's metaphor settle into his bones. Every poster he hangs is a plea, every rally a prayer, not just for reform, but for redemption. The nation is waking, its eyes clearing, seeing the parallel between the addict's spiral and the oligarch's endless chase. This is no mere policy fight. It's a diagnosis, a call to heal a land poisoned by excess. The crowds grow denser, their chants sharper, as they name the true crisis. Not just drugs or drink, but a greed that's bled the country dry. The question isn't just whether they'll fight. It's whether they can save America from itself before the shadow consumes them all. Winter's bite sharpens, and the nation's wounds bleed raw under a gray sky. But the fire kindled by Clara's truth and Javier's grit refuses to gutter. From the snow-dusted streets of Burlington to the rain-slicked corners of Oakland, America's pulse grows stronger, its people no longer content to mourn their losses in silence. The oligarch's addiction, greed, that insatiable beast, has left too many broken. Marcus drowning his sorrows in Youngstown, Lena clutching her son's inhaler in Fresno, the veteran shivering in a Vermont shelter. Yet in this darkest hour, a resolve hardens, as unyielding as the granite beneath the nation's fields. Clara steps onto a makeshift stage in a crowded park, her coat threadbare but her eyes blazing, and declares what every heart now knows. They'll step on us until we stop them, and by God, we will stop them. The crowd roars, a sound that shakes the bare trees and carries across state lines, from the Great Plains to the Pacific shore. It's not just anger, it's a vow, forged in the crucible of shared struggle. Javier, now a beacon for the young and restless, stands shoulder to shoulder with organizers in a dozen cities, their flyers replaced by megaphones, their petitions now manifestos. In Atlanta, the pastor's congregation spills into the streets, their hymns blending with protest chants. In Chicago, steelworkers like Marcus set down their glasses and pick up signs, their hands steady with purpose. This is no scattered uprising. It's a movement, a tide of ordinary Americans rising to reclaim what greed has stolen. They are teachers and truckers, farmers and nurses, the disabled and the desperate, united by a single, defiant truth. The oligarch's reign ends here. High above, in their towers of glass and steel, the oligarchs feel the tremor. Boardrooms grow tense, their polished tables reflecting furrowed brows. They've dismissed the rallies as noise, the chants as fleeting cries, but now the ground shifts beneath them. Their wealth, once a fortress, feels fragile against a nation awakened. Clara's voice, amplified by millions, names their sin, greed that crushes the weak and demands their reckoning. "We're not just fighting for votes," she cries, her words ablade. "We're fighting for our children, our homes, our America." Lena, clutching her son in the crowd, weeps not from fear, but from hope, her heart swelling with the promise of a future unbowed. The veteran, standing taller now, joins the march, his steps a testament to resilience. This is the stand, the moment where despair turns to defiance, where a fractured people forge themselves anew. From California's sunlit valleys to Vermont's frozen hills, the nation rises, not with weapons but with will. The oligarch's shadow looms, but it's no match for the light of a million raised fists, a million voices shouting as one. Javier, his face lined with exhaustion, but alive with fire, looks out over a sea of faces and knows, this is what America was always meant to be. The battle is far from won, the path ahead steep and treacherous, but the line has been drawn. They will not bend, they will not break. And as the stars pierce the winter night, the nation stands ready, its heart pounding with the fierce, proud rhythm of freedom.